everybody, it's Mrs. Gaylord. Today we are going to be talking about main idea. So how do you know what the main idea of a story is? How many people out there know how to figure out the main idea? That is the big goal that we are going to try to get you to be able to do by the end of this lesson. So thinking about main idea, you also have to consider the supporting details. You never read just a one-sentence paragraph. There's always more to the passages that you're reading. There's always more to a paragraph. So here are your definitions. The main idea of a passage is the idea that most of the passage covers. It is the basic point that the author wants to convey to the reader. In simpler terms, the main idea is the idea that the passage is mostly about. The sentences that explain, describe, or support the main idea are called supporting details. The main idea can range from an idea that the author wants the reader to agree with in a newspaper article to a main event that takes place in a story. Each passage you read, whether it is 5 sentences or 500 pages, has a main idea. When you are looking for the main idea, ask yourself, why did the author write this passage? What is the point he or she is trying to make? What is the passage mostly about? What idea is conveyed in the passage? Once you have found the main idea, check it against the passage. The sentences in the passage should support, describe, or explain this main idea. These sentences are called the supporting details. They are used to make the author's main idea stronger. If the sentences do not support the main idea, then you have the wrong main idea. Look over the sentences again and see what point or idea they are trying to explain. Note, main idea and topic are not the same thing. A topic is a general category, like the paparazzi or global warming. A main idea is a specific idea about that topic, like the paparazzi should not be allowed to follow celebrities in their car, or global warming is already impacting the North and South Poles. Think of it like a research paper assignment. Your teacher might want you to write about the 2008 presidential election. That is a topic. If you write about the confusion of the American public over the numerous candidates in the pre-primary election, that is the main idea. In other words, it's a full idea, not just a topic. Think about it. If I asked you, what can you tell me about what you had for breakfast? You could tell me that you ate cereal for breakfast, but the topic itself is just breakfast. The whole idea of cereal adds to the idea of breakfast. So you have this cute little cartoon here, and let's go over it. We'll call them Sam and Mary here. Sam says, I can't figure out what the main idea is for this article we read in class. Well, what's it about? Sam answers, hurricanes. Mary says, what about hurricanes? Coming down here, oh, just how destructive they can be and how much damage they can do. Well, there you go. That's your main idea. So the topic is hurricanes, but how destructive they can be and how much damage they can do is the main idea of the article. Let's look at another example. Once winter is gone and spring officially arrives, it is time to enjoy longer days, warm weather, and new seasonal produce. During the spring, many vegetables and fruits are at their peaks. This includes green beans, corn, sweet onions, peas, greens, and squash. On the fruit front, apples, citrus fruits, and pears have made way for juicy stone fruit like peaches, nectarines, and plums. Melons and berries are also available in the spring. So think about that passage and ignore the fact that none of these are actually available in Pennsylvania. We're probably talking a southern state here. But what is the main idea of this passage? Give yourself a second. Pause the recording if you need to. Maybe jot down, what do you think is the main idea of this passage? Many seasonal fruits and vegetables hit their peak during the spring. If that's what you wrote down or something similar, you got it right. This passage mostly focuses on the variety of produce available in the spring. The rest of the passage details the various vegetables and fruits that one can find during the spring. So thinking about the main idea, supporting details, you could use a graphic organizer such as this to help you figure out what that main idea is. Here's some information that you might see in a paragraph. Try to figure out what goes where. We have many dogs are euthanized because of overcrowding in shelters. People should adopt dogs from shelters instead of buy them from stores. Adopting a dog costs less than buying one from a store. You will feel better saving the life of a dog instead of buying a puppy that came from a puppy mill. Which one of these would you consider the main idea, and which of the rest would be supporting details? Take a second and try to figure out which one you think is the main idea. Did you guess people should adopt dogs from shelters instead of buy them from stores? If you did, you got it right. Nice job. The whole idea of people should adopt dogs, it does support the idea that many dogs are euthanized, but really many dogs are euthanized gives you a reason to adopt those dogs, not vice versa. Adopting a dog costs less than buying one from a shelter. That's another reason that you should get dogs from shelters instead of buying them in stores. And same for the last one. You will feel better saving the life of a dog instead of buying a puppy that came from a puppy mill. Supports why you should adopt from a shelter, not vice versa. So let's practice. And don't forget, you should always read the questions first before you actually go and do the whole reading. So here's your first question. What is the main point of paragraph 4? And you can look over the answers so that you have an idea of what you're looking at. The word chaotic was improperly used in the book's title. Cervantes was known to be a chaotic and foolish author. The meaning of the word chaotic changed over time, or the word chaotic originated from Cervantes' book. So now we're curious, who's Cervantes and what does chaotic mean? So let's go ahead and read that passage. Don Quixote, written by Spanish author Miguel de Cervantes, is a book of firsts. Written in 1605, it is widely considered to be the first modern novel. It is also the first book to tackle subjects such as eating disorders. Another first is the authorial perspective, i.e., who tells the story and how it is told. In the beginning of the book, Cervantes explains that he found the book that it was actually written by Don Quixote's chronicler, a man named Cide Hamed Benengeli, excuse me if I'm not pronouncing that correctly. Cervantes was likely one of the first authors to claim that his own book was actually written by another fictional author. Additionally, Cervantes may have been one of the first authors to give readers multiple perspectives on his characters. For example, at one point in the book, the characters talk about a woman who is the cause of the death of a suitor, portraying her as evil. Later, the same woman gives a different perspective entirely that makes Quixote, and thus the reader, defend her. At other points in the book, Cervantes gives an incomplete perspective. For example, when Quixote enters a cave, Cervantes admits to the reader that he does not know what happened afterward. One of the most obvious of the novel's firsts is the adjective quixotic, which arose from the book's title and protagonist. The word is understood to mean the foolishly impractical pursuits of ideals typically marked with rash and lofty romantic ideals. Okay, so now that we've read the passage, let's go back to the question again. We've got a little bit of an excerpt to help us out. One of the most obvious of the novel's first is the adjective quixotic, which arose from the book's title and protagonist. This word is understood to mean the foolishly impractical pursuits of ideals, typically marked with rash or lofty romantic ideals. So what is the point of this paragraph? Let's go over our answers again. The word quixotic was improperly used in the book's title. Cervantes was known to be a quixotic and foolish author. The meaning of the word quixotic changed over time, or the word quixotic originated from Cervantes' book. Think about what the entire passage was trying to tell us. What was the main idea of the passage? How does that fit with paragraph 4? That should help give you your answer. Did you guess D? If you did, you're right. In paragraph 4, the author says that the word quixotic is yet another example of the book's firsts. He or she states that the word was taken from the book's title and protagonist. Thus, the reader can assume that the word was either uncommon or non-existent prior to the book's publication. Great job! Okay, so we are done talking about main idea. Hopefully you have a good idea of how to find the main idea. Again, remember, the way to get the main idea is to ask yourself, globally, overall, what was the article or passage about? And not just a topic. You want to make sure that you give a full sentence explaining what the full ideas, the thoughts of the author are on this topic. Write down any questions that you may have and bring them to class tomorrow. And we will see you then. Have a great day.